across areas that I think could or should have some structure or fish or whatever. And look, just watch the bottom machine. And in Panama City, you're not going to see big, high relief structure. Now, there are some places, and we'll probably go to one in a little while that's over on the other side of the bay from here. It's an old wreck. It's an old sailboat, from what I understand. It's about the highest relief structure in the whole bay. And I see people fish it every once in a while, but there's so much traffic because everybody that goes in and out of the bay from offshore or going offshore runs right by it. So typically when I fish it early in the morning and then leave it by about 9:30 or 10 because the traffic is just keeping the water churned up and the fish just pull back into the structure and they don't bite. At least not for me. Now once the water temperatures cool off in the bay, hopefully the traffic will slow down a little bit. I fished it a little bit last fall and winter and caught mostly snapper on it. But I know there's grouper. I've hung fish there that I couldn't get them out of that with a 100-pound gear, out of the structure. They just get me down in it and break me off. But I'm not scared. Try it again. Navionics, the app that I have on my phone, the ledges and rocks look more like shadows than they do, something that's sticking up above the bottom. It's just a shadow. So I'll mark those shadows and then come and check them. Probably looks like I'm going in circles because I am. Going back and forth. And I can see real shallow spots right up here in front of me between me and Tyndall Air Force Base. It's sand. So I know it's shallow up in there. But I'm in 28 feet of water here. As it comes up this slope, up onto this flat, there's stuff on that slope. And that's what I'm looking for. Something that's got some fish on it or could have fish on it. Right now I'm fishing, or I'm looking at the western side of this ditch or channel or whatever it is that goes up in here. In a minute I'll go over to the east side of it and do the same thing because the tide's going out. So everything coming off of the flat on that side is getting washed over the edge of that drop-off. And you just never know. They could be on that side. They could be piled up over there. But we'll go over there and check it in just a minute. And everything right over here behind me, or beside me, is shallow enough that I can see the bottom. And it's probably 60 yards from me. There probably used to be channel markers that went up in there to that top that are gone now. Hurricane Michael did a lot of damage at Tyndall Air Force Base to the point where, they don't have any place to put aircraft right now. So they keep their airplane somewhere else and fly over here every day. little promising. Some fish on the bottom. Close to the bottom anyway. Get out here a little bit deeper and see what if it has any kind of a drop off other than just that slope. And the ledge isn't going to show up real big. You know, when I talk about ledges, it could be a foot of a drop off. And on this depth finder, you won't hardly see it in 30 feet of water. It'll just, you know, it'll go from 30 to 31. It ain't much. A bit breezy today. Which is the reason I didn't go offshore. I spend hours and hours and hours doing this. My first year here in Panama City, I literally did this for probably 3 months. Never picked up a rod and reel. I just went around and marked stuff that looked like it could be promising. I did it in the wintertime, so, you know, my thinking, you know, you're not going to catch a lot anyway, so just go look. Probably could have caught fish, but I was more interested in figuring out places to fish. And as I've said before, I've got about 600 spots marked, and I've probably not even checked half of them. This is all a wreck, because I didn't even know it was there. It's not marked on any of the maps. I was literally just easing around, and it decided I was going to run over to a wreck that's over closer to the bank that's marked, and I saw some porpoises that were feeding right here. So I slowed down, eased over it, and saw the relief come up. And it's probably 7, 8, 10 feet above the bottom. So it's just, and it's pretty good size. So I'm camped on it right now. So I'll put away my 15-pound rod and get out my 20-pound or 30-pound rod and see if we can figure out if there's anything here. I see fish, so hopefully there's something on. I don't like porpoises being where I'm fishing, but I don't mind it when they show me places that I should fish. And they'll show you. They don't eat little fish. They eat big fish. Because they're big fish. So what I've got is a cigar minnow that I cut the head and tail off of. Put the whole cigar minnow on there. And something's biting me. This little, whatever it is. Something's down there biting. And with little fish attracted to the bait, it'll attract bigger fish. A little bit better bites. There we go. shark. The shark can be fun. Kind of like getting beat to death. I'll go to my 65 rod. If you've got structure like this, and this is probably a wreck, it's just not marked on the map. If you've got structure like this, you're going to have sharks. It's just inevitable. The place I was just sitting fishing, which is back at the end of that ditch, I didn't film it because I wasn't catching anything that was worth videoing. But there was a little Atlantic shark nose that was swimming around the boat. So that rod was 30-pound line. I got 65-pound line on this one on a heavy action rod. Not that I want to put a shark like that in the boat. He was probably 5 foot long. But just because I think I'm going to catch something bigger here. Something worth keeping. Grouper is what I'd like to have. And grouper will get on spots like this. So this is my Cadence 4000 with 20-pound Power Pro braid. I got 30-pound leader. Same 5-aught hook, 3/4 ounce weight that I was using on that 15-pound line rod. And I just got a big shrimp, medium shrimp. Big for what I'm able to get right now. White trout. And this is a little white trout. Some people call them sand trout. Sometimes they use them for bait. They hang out on deep structure. They're not like the speckled trout that you catch up around the grass beds and stuff like that. I've literally never caught one that wasn't on deep structure. Alright, well I left that area over there by Shell Island where we were fishing. The traffic was just horrible coming out of the St. Andrews Park area, going over to Shell Island, and those people don't care where they run, they just run. So the waves were getting bad. I'm sure the wind had a little bit to do with it. So I've come over to a spot that I've caught grouper for the last couple of years, usually in the fall. The water temperature right now, surface temperature is 85 degrees. So I don't know that there'll be any grouper here, but there are fish here. We're going to see what we can catch. I've just got it pilchered on right now. I'm using my 30-pound equipment in case there's grouper here. Because there's a lot of rock here. Not a very big one. The bite. Nice little lane snapper. They only have to be 8 inches to keep them. That's probably a keeper. They got plenty of fish in the freezer. What I really want is some grouper. Another little red snapper. Not quite a keeper. I definitely know my structure's on this side, because that fish ran straight for the structure and cut me off in the structure. It's just rock. That's all it is. That one got broke off too. I'm batting real well right now. Most likely this is big red snapper. Big red snapper. Yep. They're not huge, but keeper size anyway. That's a good keeper red snapper anywhere. I don't care if you're offshore or inshore. Another little lane snapper. And he would be a keeper, right at 8 inches. And there's some fish showing up on the depth finder. Kind of show you what I'm seeing. So that's the live bottom right there. Those are fish. Some more fish. And they're probably snapper. They could be black sea bass or any number of different things. A little bit bigger line. Nice red snapper. Nice red snapper. I mean, we're in an area that's probably 50 or 60 square feet, both directions. 50 or 60 feet that way and this way. It's just a bunch of scattered structure on the bottom in 32 to 35 feet of water. They could be anywhere on this piece of structure and they'll just swim around looking for something to eat. Normally I can catch them on pinfish, but I haven't been able to get one to bite a pinfish in months. Piece of advice, with circle hooks, don't set the hook. Let them pull it down and you just reel. I've bass fished for so long that I just can't help myself. I'm going to set the hook. But As you can see, I miss a lot of fish doing that. If I just let them pull it down and just reel, I'm almost 100% with it. That's with a circle hook. If you're fishing for snapper, grouper, any of the reef fish here in Florida, you have to use a circle hook in the Gulf. I don't know about the Atlantic because I don't fish the Atlantic. I'll show you the bottom so you can see what it is that I'm looking at. So that's the bottom. That's the top of the pipeline, and we're in 24.8 feet. And that could be the concrete mat that's on top of it. That's fish. There's fish down in there. Fish down in there. That's bait. So there's fish here. If I can just get them to bite. I've got some pictures on Facebook at Epic Nearshore PC of us fishing this spot at night and catching keeper red snapper. That was back in July. There we go. Now something to keep in mind, you see the way that I fish. It's just the way that I fish. You may try something else that works just as well or better for you, but this is how I fish. I would never tell you, you got to fish this way or you won't catch them. That's not true. Keeper red snapper. If you fish in the Central Florida area, Tampa, Sarasota, kind of in that general area, Todd at the Tampa Bay Fishing Channel does a Friday fishing forecast. It's real good. He gives you the tides and the major and minors and all that kind of stuff. He swears by it. I don't care, I'm going fishing. So, I have found it to be fairly accurate everywhere I go. Now what his majors and minors in Tampa are different than ours up here in Panama City. But it's usually not, a whole lot different. But it's different.